watching the election, and we have been told numerous times that this is the most important election ever, possibly. It's going to decide the future of America and the future of the world. And sometimes I think I've heard this story once before. Elections occur and not too much happens. But I want to read a couple quotes and start off with you giving us your insight into what you think about the significance of our election. But here's one quote. The next president, much like the current president and his predecessors, will be little more than a figurehead, a puppet to entertain and distract the populace from what's really going on. Well, that's a little scary, but something I've heard before. But here's another one that is along the same line. So the next time you find yourself despondent over the 2016 presidential candidates, remember that it's just a puppet show intended to distract you from the silent coup being carried out by American shadow government. Well, if you're going to a puppet show, you're supposed to relax. But if it's a coup, we're not supposed to be relaxed. So tell us what we're supposed to do and how do we interpret this election?
Well, you know, there was a recent FBI memo that was obtained through FOIA, which where the FBI actually referred to the 7th Floor Group, which is sort of an underground group of the State Department officials, and then the rest of the names, the whole long list was all blacked out. You couldn't see who it was. So this was referred to in the memo, by the way, by the government itself as the shadow government. And again, you know about it. I've written about it before. People I know who worked in Washington, D.C. talk to me about, hey, listen, the president doesn't really run the show here in Washington, D.C. It's a group of individuals behind the scenes, corporate individuals and others. And, you know, Jimmy Carter recently admitted, he said, it's an oligarchy. We're run by an oligarchy. That was backed up by a Princeton University study that showed that after 20 years of laws and stuff they studied, these professors that passed in Washington, D.C., the conclusion they came to was that, and this is a 2014 study, is that the average voter has virtually no input in Washington, D.C. It's run by unelected officials. I mean, you have the NSA has an $11 billion budget, but it's a black ops budget. We don't know what they spend it on. There's no accountability in Congress. So we're run by a group of contractors, private contractors. There's almost 900,000 contractors who have top secret clearance, more than government officials out there that are running the show. Some, by the way, that I've talked to. And they tell me this. They say, hey, this election is not going to mean a lot if there's something not done by the so-called presidential candidates. But if you look at the debates, they're not talking about any of this. They're not saying, hey, I'm going to make sure that the American people have some input in this election. So we're not hearing any of that. And in my opinion, as I look at the two candidates who are not actually discussing what I would be key issues in this country, is it going to change anything? Remember, Obama ran on ending wars and things like that. He's the first president to set through 8 years of full war. Did he change anything? No. So, and Ron, you know that it's a government run by people behind the scenes.